I guess about 8 or 9 years ago, I met this great guitar player named Josh. He was playing with some cool band on Frenchman Street, and then a few years later, I started seeing these videos online. And one day, my wife came in and she said, "Oh yeah, I saw that video with Josh." And I'm like, "How do you know Josh? Like, are y'all friends on Facebook?" She's like, "Oh no, that stuff's all over the place." I was like, "Oh, this is actually kind of a thing." So how many of you have seen the like "Have a Great Day" videos? Yeah, a number. So we're gonna get to that, but let's find out who Josh is first. So where are you from? How'd you get here?
I'm from Miami originally. I was born and raised in Miami. Anyone here from South Florida? Anyone? Yeah, what's up? Yeah, I was born in North Miami and raised in Broward out in Weston. Yeah, right. Go Heat, etc. And I went to Florida State and I studied guitar, and then I came here to UNO to get my master's in jazz guitar.
Any of you in the jazz scene? I don't think Amina's here, but Josh was the beginning of the Florida State exodus to the New Orleans music scene. So what kind of music were you playing when you got here?
Well, at the time, it was 5 years after Katrina, so a lot of the clubs were rebuilding. There was a lot of jazz, like straight ahead stuff, more traditional stuff, but also funk bands. There's experimental stuff still. I think that's where I first probably saw you. Yeah, I mean,
So
those
drop
kinds of
some
things.
names. Who are the cool people you played with?
Well, Delphio Marsalis, Leroy Jones, Wendell Brunius, kind of like the masters, and that's part of the reason why I came over here is because I said to myself, hey, I really want to check out the musical lineage of the city and learn from the people here and learn from the culture. And I ended up playing with this guy, Glenn David Andrews, who's Trombone Shorty's cousin, when he was touring. So I got to tour around a while, and I've toured in some other places, like New Orleans music festivals and things like that. Yeah.
So I guess last fall, spring, whenever the Blues and Barbecue Fest is, I was playing with Luther Kent, and I show up at the stage and I see Josh. I'm like, "Oh, hey man, what's happening?" He says, "Oh, I'm emceeing this stage." I was like, "Oh, I didn't." They usually get like radio people or whatever. What's up with that? And he's like, "Well, apparently they wanted to have a great day guy to MC the stage," and he had some good lines. It was an excellent job emceeing. So how did this thing start? And I keep the screen's empty
Right.
now, so I guess I don't
Well,
really have to
Loyola
point
University
at the Loyola
was
logo.
started, the
In
history of Loyola.
1912, right.
Yeah. I went through a really bad relationship breakup, and I wanted to do something for myself that was fun and connecting with other people, because sometimes, when relationships go south, you kind of isolate yourself either in the relationship or by yourself or whatever it is. So put a camera up in front of myself and just played guitar and I didn't even smile in the first videos. I was kind of sad.
So it was like the ironic "Have a Great Day"?
Yeah, and people were like, "That's funny," naturally.
Yeah.
And then I started smiling. I did a couple in a row. My friends were like, "Oh, just keep doing it." And I think they were messing with me, so I kept doing it naturally. And it just kept growing. And if you're consistent with your ideas and with your content, you keep posting, people catch on. Don't give in to the perfectionist or whatever that is.
So this started sort of as like some self-therapy, right? Like there was no grand scheme of, I've got a plan to really break out my guitar player career. I'm going to make "Have a Great Day" videos.
There's already a bajillion amazing guitar players in the world, and there's already a bajillion that are great on Instagram as well. And I think for me, I feel better when I'm performing with other people and connecting with other people, because you saw like a 1.5-minute video, but that whole video for me was really fun because I've known those musicians for a while. I'd never met Mashia's child before, which was really cool. And it was really cool that she was able to incorporate her in the video. And it's if you think about it, it's like a historical document. It's like, oh, look when Scoot was like 1 year old with her mom, So there's like historical, sentimental value to it. And also, like, I went to my friend Jason's house. We all hung out and like shoot the shit or whatever, and just kind of caught up. And then we went into his kitchen and I did the director thing. And I thought, oh, this is a great shot here. And then I said, you stand there, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, we shot the video.
We're going to do that with y'all in a little bit, so hang on for that. So how do you choose who you make these videos with? Like, do people come to you or do you go to people?
It's both. Some of it is out of just the interest of exploring different kinds of music. I have a fascination with the diversity represented in music, or just like any art form. But New Orleans is a very diverse place, so I feel like especially living here after a while, it's my responsibility to also give an accurate picture of the city. So for example, if I had all white people on my show, that would be not very accurate because New Orleans is 60% black, obviously. But at the same time, you don't want to objectify, right? So you have to give space to also let everyone express themselves how they want, you know? So it's interesting, but that's why I just have a light attitude about the whole thing. It's like, it's very casual. People just come over, we talk, and get to—
Do you shoot most of them at your place?
About half. Yeah, it's like I live in a little mother-in-law apartment behind my friend's mom's house, down by the river. Because that's what happens.
An older joke. They don't get
Chris
it.
Farley. Okay, never mind.
So what's the weirdest one you've done?
What's your definition of weird?
You can use your own definition.
Weird. I don't know. I'm pretty weird, so it's like it's kind of hard to top where I'm at. I just allow whatever weird things to happen. I mean, I've gone out to people's gigs and like in the middle of the gig, like set up my camera and just did a song, and like it's on Frenchman Street, and all the tourists, like, you know, they don't care. They still liked it. What else? I mean, no, nothing's really.
Have you ever been in the middle of one and just thought, this is not going to work?
Sometimes people are where they're at. People have like, we all have our lives, and like, yeah, I'm gonna have a great day, guy. I'm smiling and shit, but like, there's no way you can smile all day. Come on, it's ridiculous. It's a bit of an act, but it's also like, it's therapeutic in ways, because when you do smile, it's even scientifically proven. There's a release of endorphins. There's all kinds of personal chemistry that goes on. But part of what I do too is like seeing where people are at, because it would be a disservice to both of us if someone came in and I was like, okay, this is a song we're doing, let's just do it right now. You know, you have to be able to actually like read a person, like you're dealing with human beings. And that goes not just for a video, but if you're in a band, you know, whatever business, you know, it's just like, you can't just view a person as a musician. We're not automatons, we're not robots.
Right. So describe like another shoot. You show up somewhere and how long does it take to get that minute and a half of video? How long's the hang? Like, what's the process?
Some are quicker than others. It depends. Like if I'm with more high profile people, like I did one with Tank and the Bangas. So it's like you get in. It was at a studio. You get in, you basically just like set up, and they got places to go. You know, it just depends. They're all different, but and then also I do takes, and then sometimes ideas develop. Like, oh, that was funny. Do this again. But also there's certain things about what I do that I'm not trying to make it too contrived. So if something like unexpected happens and it happens on camera, you know, and even if it messes with the flow of the music a little bit, like whatever, just go with it. It's more interesting. If you want to hear a perfect recording, go listen to Spotify or whatever.
Right, like Tank already made that record.
Yeah.
This
whatever.
is a different thing.
Yeah, whatever.
Who's the most famous person you've done one with?
Probably Tank at this point. I mean, famous. In the EDM world, there's my friend Boogie T, who I've done some videos with. Yeah, I mean,
I'm a jazz nerd. I thought like the Cyril May was a.
Oh, Cyril May's like yeah, but like okay, like what is the gauge of famous nowadays? Like, all right, well, this person I've done videos with has 100,000 followers, and then everyone in the audience goes, 100,000 followers. What can I? Okay, so when I reach out to people, I think about that a little bit, but also, what's the best that I can make? What's the most interesting thing that I can make? You know. Collaborating is amazing, but you don't always rely on someone else, even if they have a bajillion million followers.
Right.
Because all those stats are whatever, man.
So
it's Zuckerberg.
let's ask y'all, what's the definition of famous?
Big car,
buy
big
your
money.
mama a house.
Buy your mama a house. Is that famous or just wise investing? You know what I mean?
Or possibly
There's
rich.
lots of rich people that are kind of controlling the world you live in that you don't even know their name. Huh. That's okay. I think I agree a bit more with that metric. Notoriety, right, in the public eye.
For the people on the recording who couldn't hear what John said, it's if you can't go to the grocery store, without being stopped. Do you get stopped at the grocery store?
No, I mean, every once in like when I go out a few times a week or something like that. And it's cool. I mean, everyone's just people, man, you know? But I can imagine it could be kind of hellish if you're like Justin Bieber. Like, I'm just a small-time New Orleans guy. Like, if you're just like Justin Bieber or some stars where your image is just like so out there and no one can help but notice you, I could understand how being isolated is what you want to do, but also there's side effects to that as well.
I saw Hank Aaron in the airport in Atlanta one time, and I was like sort of corralling my daughter while my wife and the other kid went to get food, and I see this guy coming down the jetway with his wife, you know, like an old black dude, and I'm like, that guy's famous. I know who that is. And I couldn't figure it out, and then all of a sudden it hit me. I'm like in Atlanta. I'm like, wow, that's Hank Aaron, and I'm a huge baseball fan. So I was like, really, and I saw the look on his face when he saw me realize it was him. And he sort of, it wasn't like a go hide, but it was just this, he sort of was steeling himself like, okay, I'm going to have to talk to this dude. Right? But you could tell he was deciding like, okay, I have to be nice to this guy and it'll be over in a second. And then I realized I didn't have anything to say to Hank Aaron. I was totally going to do the like Chris Farley, Paul McCartney thing. Like, yeah, remember when you hit all those home runs? That was great. You know? So then I was like, well, so anyway, so I decided I'm not going to talk to Hank Aaron. I have the story. And so when I then decided not to talk to Hank Aaron, you could also see the look on his face where he's like, okay, good, I can just take my wife home. Like, it is that's a trippy thing. And
right.
One of the good things about being the trombone player is you never get stopped in the grocery store. I might play with the people who get stopped in the grocery store, but it's never me.
Right. Well, I growing up in Miami, my dad's a chiropractor, and he was the chiropractor for the Miami Heat for the past 20, 25 years. So I would be around like Shaq or LeBron James or D Wade, and then my dad also took care of like Lenny Kravitz and all these different people. And he made a point of having me like just around them to meet them, if anything. And this is the thing I noticed is they're just people, man. They all like eat, you know, use the bathroom. They got problems with their mom and their dad or like their kid or like they got to pay bills, you know. And sometimes you don't need to, you know, you don't need to necessarily go up to them. But also at the same time, sometimes you do. So,
right.
So who knows?
Well,
it just depends on you and your own experience.
And there's that thing of, I love your work.
Yeah.
Is super cool. Yeah. I have on like twice in the 30 years that I've played music for a living, had people come up to me and be like, oh, I really love that thing you did. Right. And it helped. Like, it makes me feel cool. So never be afraid to do that to a famous person. But you don't have to like invite them to your mom's house. That's okay if you don't do that.
Right. Don't ask for their number.
So you've been doing these Have a Great Day videos for a couple of years. You got merch now. I've seen like Cyrus Nabapur wears your pin everywhere.
I put my face on a shirt. It's 2020. It's the only thing you can actually do to make money anymore.
So how has this whole endeavor changed your life as a guitar player?
I play less guitar and I talk more. Which is great because, man, like 3-hour gigs suck. You know. Amen in the back.
Right. All the jobbing cats out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I've tapped more into just a more holistic part of me instead of just you there, go play guitar, and like, or you there, think of a song to write. It's like, oh, I can work with a nonprofit, or I can go to a school, I can meet kids, I can, you know, do things that are more connected to the community and the world around me, which I think is the most important thing. The irony is that I use social media, which a lot of times creates an image of some sort of global or national thing, when the world that I believe that we all need to focus more on is the one right in front of us. So if anything, I use it as a vehicle to explore my community. And then eventually, you know, I have plans to travel and do the same in other cities and things like that as well.
You spent some time in LA doing these things.
So through this,
so did you go out there just to do these videos, or were you going to be there for something else?
Well, things kind of fell into place. I was thinking of going out there to possibly move. Not that I love it here, but like, you know, I have a lot of friends out in LA too. And I was going to do videos, and then this nonprofit approached me to make videos for them and run their social media. So I went out there and I did that for about a month or a month and a half. And
who else did you do stuff with out there?
A lot of more local acts. I have some friends that know the guys in the band Wolfpack. I didn't have any of them on. Yeah, they're sick. They're great guys too. They're freaking awesome. But my friend Jacob Groton, Jacob Jeffries is his stage name. He actually has some of those guys on his album. I did a video with him. I've known him since I was like in middle school. I also, Will Dog from this band, also Motley, which is a band from the 90s. Through him, I met this family outside of Los Angeles that plays many different Mexican styles. So my whole idea is like, how can I get a picture of a place I'm in through music? You know, how does music describe a community? And I don't think like, I barely chipped away at LA because LA is just like insanely large and there's so many people to know. Surprisingly, I felt like the music community there wasn't like the same ratio as people. Like New Orleans has a very high ratio of musicians to non-musicians, but a place like LA, it felt like it wasn't quite that, you know, as far as like professional,
Right.
like on the scene, but I don't know, people playing guitar and like making beats everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
just
Well,
gotta
and
meet
that's
'em.
I think that's one of the things in LA. The geography of the place makes that kind of broader community building tough.
Right, Miami's very similar in that, like, there are people that play music, but it's just such a big place. It's very separated by highways and
Yeah, that's
land.
very true.
Yeah,
My little bit of cruise ship time, the time I did Miami,
Mm-hmm.
that was
Right.
yeah. So it's like it's a big place, but it's hard to find the here.
Yeah, infrastructure and architecture affect culture and community, and music genres. Has anyone read this book by David Byrne, How Music Works? Yeah, he talks about that. That's like a great point, I think. In New Orleans, it's interesting because we have like porch culture and just people out in the street all the time. And that's very similar like Latin America or the Caribbean, all these kinds of places. But LA is not so much. Even though when you walk around, it's like kind of sleepy in its own way, like different neighborhoods. Like I was near Highland Park and Silver Lake and all those areas. But yeah, I'm gonna go back and do more there.
Cool.
Yep.
So have you done any other cities? New Orleans and LA?
I was in New York for a week in November and I had some friends there. So it's like, work with what you got. You know what I mean? I just started doing this 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, and work with the resources you have, the friends that you have, because you can build something with just what you have.
So this started as your sort of therapy.
Right.
I imagine it's generating some income now.
Yeah.
Is this a thing that like you would be cool if this was most of what you did for money? Is it always going to be like a part of a larger ecosystem?
Instead of
How
playing,
do you see putting that together?
I mean, part of it is the mantra of I don't want to play weddings or tourist gigs anymore. I don't. Thank you. Amen to that in the back. Thank you.
I'll take that wedding money every once in a while.
Right, but imagine if you could make wedding money doing more what you want and not feel like, God, what was I just doing for 6 hours and I ate cake again? Why did I eat the cake again? I'm such a piece of shit.
I do. You just can't stay away from the cake.
God,
It's like you aren't getting your
And
full pay
yeah,
if you don't
get
eat
into
the
this
cake.
thing where it's
Yeah.
like I play a wedding every week. I got to try the different cakes. It's like, who am I? Like, am I gonna start like booking weddings now, or like, am I a wedding planner?
That's so true. Like there's this tenor player named Dino, and I played in a wedding band with Dino for years. And we would have the thing, like after they would serve the cake, we would like rate the cakes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what
like
else
so
are you
was
gonna
it the
do?
good icing? And he'd be like, no, it was the too fancy icing. It wasn't good. I'm like, was it like the really good grocery store icing? He was like, yeah, it was that
Right,
one.
right.
You know.
It's like you've already played Brick House and Treasure a bajillion times. Like, what are you gonna do? Rate the cake, duh. And the crawfish pasta if you're in Southern Louisiana, naturally.
The
Does it have-
meatballs at Chateau Country Club are pretty good.
Right.
Just if you're
Does the
curious.
crawfish pasta have the scallions on top? Because that's what makes it fancy.
It is. So if you have any questions about wedding bands, Josh and I will
Right.
be
That's
giving
actually why we're here. I'm
advice.
starting
Yeah.
a wedding band company. It's like Uber, but for wedding bands. That's a joke. All right. I don't mean to confuse all of you.
So that gets to an interesting thing about the things that make us feel good about how we get paid.
Right.
And I know there are some people who would think, oh man, like running like essentially a meme factory would drive me crazy. I would so much rather play Brick House
Right.
than do that.
We're all different. We all
Yeah.
have different perspectives. Me sitting here, just my schmucky self on stage, like saying these things like doesn't mean it's for you. Like everyone, you know, I'm not dogmatic about what I believe. This is just what's worked for me. There's certain principles that I think can be flipped around and adapted to your personality and your experiences and preferences and how you're aligned, your astrology chart, your personality chart, whatever you're going by these days. But you know what I mean? We're, you know, what I'm saying is we're all on our own individual journeys. It's important to not give up our own autonomy to other like idols. Like, oh, I want to be the next trap sensation or whatever. Like, who knows? You may be, but you also might not be. And a lot of times you might also discover that, and it might be something so hot that you might even be afraid of it. You know what I mean? And a lot of times the things that you're resisting are actually what's meant for you. So there we go.
So how did you discover that? I feel like there's more to that advice than...
I wasn't using social media for a really long time. And you build up all these ideas in your head of like, oh, it's bullshit. It's just like everyone's making a mini celebrity out of themselves. It's conceited. It's narcissistic. Yada yada yada. And then look at me. I just put a camera in front of me, and then I just started. And it was like, and then I found like, oh, aha! I can actually feel more connected to the world around me, and I'm gonna run with it. But I was just talking to Mike. He's off of it, and he's completely happy. So good for him too, because ultimately it's about our own personal happiness, right? There we go. It's all about, yeah.
I have to tell y'all, I'm going to out Twillman here. I was telling Mike like that we had booked Josh for today, and he sort of looked at me. He's like, "So are you just going to talk about like jazz guitar?"
Yeah, C major 7.
And I said, "No, we're going to talk about the Have a Great Day thing." And he was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Dude, are you not on the internet?" And he said, "Well, no, not really." I was like, "Okay."
Bless your heart. When the Zuckerberg comes for you, you'll be safe.
Well, there is that interesting thing of I've been reading a friend's blog that he started this blog because he was trying to like get off of having all of his public thinking on Facebook. But the way I find the blog posts is he posts on Facebook about them.
Are you on LiveJournal? No one knows what LiveJournal is.
So that like how the social media space fits in a thing that we can feel good about. Do any of you feel conflicted about social media at all, or is it just like stuff that you're cool? Okay, so we all do. We're all in the same boat. Okay. We've all occasionally had some homosexual tendency, and everybody feels conflicted about Facebook. All right, cool. It's all right. It's a safe space.
Hey,
We're fine.
We're all a little gay,
okay.
You know? Everyone's a little bit racist. Everyone's a little bit gay. You know, it's all the same shit.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail that.
Just don't make a Facebook post about it, because then you'll get canceled.
So let's.
You're over. Get out of here. You're canceled.
Let's see. Do y'all have questions? Let's get a little light in the house. What would y'all like to know from Josh?
Oh, God.
I know.
Sorry. No, you guys look great. It's just bright.
Anybody with questions for Josh? Guitar voicing, social media practice. The question was, how did he grow his followers?
How did I grow my followers? I posted a lot, like almost every day, and I collaborated with people in every video and told them to post it too. So when you do that, it swaps networks, you know, cross-pollinate.
Do you think an important part of that function is the fact that you're actually you on the thing? Like you don't have to. You don't have to remember to put on the right face every day. You know what the face is.
Right. It's very simple. It's simple and stupid. You know, keep it simple, stupid. I act stupid. People know what they're coming in for. If you think it's stupid, that's cool because it is. If you think it's stupid, you don't want to watch it, that's fine too because it's stupid, you know. But some people like stupid. I like stupid.
Well, and it's like a very small amount of stupid, and like it's very digestible.
Yeah. There's there's some other things going on. Oh yeah, well the reason for that is because it looks sicker that way. Like a guitar, like it looks doper when it's up like this. It's also kind of phallic, which is kind of weird. But
which is a callback to the never mind.
Neoclassical. We're talking like art here. Anyway, so no, but it also clears space for people to be like around. You don't crowd the person. No, not really. You know, if you practice enough, you figure out what doesn't hurt, and you just do it all the time.
And there's the like bass player thing of, like acoustic bass, like that's how they play.
Yeah. And I guess in some ways, like, you don't want to like, just get comfy, baby. I guess it didn't take too long. I just kind of say like, can I curse?
We already have, yeah.
Fuck it. That's a good mantra. Like, fuck it. I am who I am when I'm it. And, And that's it. That's it,
Well,
period.
and the thing, like
Like,
one of the words you used, Marco, was play well, and I think that's like part of this thing is he's not actually so much worried about that.
right. Well, this has been a process of that too, because you go through this whole like I'm a musician on some sort of scene, and hanging around only musicians all the time is kind of a bummer, in my opinion, man. Like, especially like background musician, or not background, sorry, the supporting cast of musicians. A lot of times, jazz musicians, or it can be kind of like narcissistic, like. And there's only like so much music that you listen to after a while. There's like such a big world out there for you to explore, many different types of people with different backgrounds and things like that. So like what I'm doing as a process of getting out of that makes me less nervous as well, because I'm not all around a bunch of people who are worried about playing C major 7 over C dominant, which kind of sounds tight if you think about it.
Yeah, if you do it right. You can,
Yeah, if you do it
You can
right.
play an F sharp anywhere.
Yeah, you can. Anywhere. I mean, I'm down if you want to like, let's play some darts. Yeah, I'm done making videos. Let's go play some darts. For real.
That's
out
hard.
in Metairie, we can go to some
Yeah.
like shady dart bar. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
I think that's the first
hit me up on
time any
Instagram.
guest has ever made a dart date during Forum.
That's cool. What is it? Where at Bruno's there's darts? Come on, everyone, we're gonna go play darts after this. Let's go. On Jeff. Loyola's got money.
Wait, hold on now.
But it's
I think I saw another hand over here somewhere. Yeah.
trauma. I don't know, because I've only perceived what I've been through, but artists tend to, if you've read biographies or know artists, like that's how you get to the other shit. That's how you get to the shit that people pick up on. Like it's like you're affected, but then you process it through your expression, and it's an act of courage and lack of fear, Well, you have the fear, but you're dealing with it through your expression.
Yeah, the fear doesn't go away. You just figure
Right.
out how to do stuff anyway.
Right. Yeah, that's why people like the greatest songwriters and lyricists of forever, or poets or whatever it is, especially if we're talking about language. But I mean, like if you talked about John Coltrane, like his recordings during the Civil Rights era, for example, are like, oh shit, like I can feel something going on.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, just being able to, it's like art is therapy in general, And I'm not trying to like brand myself on the fact that I like went through a divorce and all this shit, but I feel like
I was gonna say there
it's
are
good to
lots
be
of
transparent.
divorced people who make crappy music too.
half
It's
of
okay.
people who have been married or have been divorced, so it's not like I'm special in any way. Yeah, but
Right.
all those things feed.
Yeah.
It's good to be aware of where you're at. Don't sweep your life experiences under the rug, because they're valid to be expressed.
Right, and you don't know what's gonna come out of it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Eli.
Yeah,
Well,
dope.
we're gonna do one in a minute.
Right,
like,
but I
with
mean, like,
everybody
okay,
right now.
that's a good point, though. So, like, you can hit me up on Instagram, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure out what time to make a video. Like, I'm kind of a shit show when it comes to scheduling, but I'll make it work.
I hear you have an intern now.
I do.
He should be here.
I don't think he's
probably.
here. He's good. He's Zach Smallman. Zach's the shit. That kid has good head on his shoulders, man.
Yeah, except he keeps skipping class. so-
Well, maybe he's practicing. That's what I used to do.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to out Zach in front of everybody.
No, it's all good. Right. So I don't submit them to sites. I tag. So the whole idea is it's like holistic. It's all incorporative. So like I would come up with skits to plug a product, like even though I'm not endorsed. Fake it till you make it kind of vibe. But hashtags, yeah, I'll go to 30. And I have the ones that I do commonly, like music, musica, New Orleans, NOLA, a smile, positivity, positive vibes, marijuana, joy, breathe, relax,
They just flow like that.
Right.
That's how-
Literally, those are like the basic ones going through my head. And then, whatever else is related, or if I'll make videos based around like certain events that are going on in the moment too. Like if there's like relevant stuff, like, I don't know, I couldn't make a Kobe video right now, but for example, like whatever's happening and whatever I'm tied to, or like Black History Month next month, I like digging in on that. Resources. So I like people you've known. You can also reach out to companies too. A lot of times, like some of them. Well, for example, I did like a Topo Chico one where I faked it, and they didn't do like social media sponsorships only for like concerts or something. But through a friend who works at what is it, like a marketing company in New York. I was endorsed by Smarties Candy for, you know, that candy you get at Halloween
Hey man,
where you're like, what the
Valentine's
hell is
coming
this
up, yeah.
chalk? Like, but it's not bad. You know, I ate it for a while. But they gave me I made like a video for them a month for like $300 for over the course of like a month or two or whatever. You know, so yeah, those things can happen. And then also like I point people to my merch, and I sold like 200 T-shirts or something and shipped them all over the place. You know, yeah, just be consistent with the message. You know. Oh, it's my name, Joshua Starkman, my stage name. If you get to know me, you can call me Josh.
Okay, so Joshua is your stage name. And
Yeah,
that's funny. I know a
Joshua is
bass
my
player
stage
that's like
name.
that too.
Yeah, right.
He's like, you can call me Josh in the bar, but when you introduce me on the gig, I'm Joshua.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Is he over 30 or?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, tight.
Joshua's going to get his guitar and go sit right in the middle right there. And I would like the rest of you to get as much in the middle so that I can fit it in the camera shot as possible. And he's going to tell you what song you're doing.
Well, I mean, it's a collaborative effort, so really we could,
We can pick a song?
dare I say, be democratic, which is a funny
So what do y'all
system.
want to sing?
I was about to say Forever Young by Bob Dylan, and then you said Forever. I was like, I was thinking, okay, so let's get a little scientific. Like, what song what song have we all known since? More like maybe like a folk song. I see we're all people here. We're all folks. So no, that's like a white national anthem. That would be like Piano Man. I was thinking like You Are My Sunshine or something like that. Does anyone? Oh, boo. Oh, okay, good. See, I'm being defensive. It was a projection.
DJ's
I'm
playing
sorry
along,
about
right.
that. I haven't eaten today. What do people think? Yes? Yes? I hear enough yes. I am Spartacus.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
All right,
Cool.
so it's save Josh a spot in the middle. Everybody move like over here. I know some of you are going to leave, but you're not cool. Come be in the video.